Hello friends, welcome to the my channel Knowledge Adda. So today I will discuss on the OBE means outcome based education and RBT level. So basically this session divided into two parts. One is OBE and second is RBT and how OBE and RBT are related to each other we will discuss. And just in this session I will give you overview of outcome based education and what is difference between outcome based education and output based education, and also I will discuss RBT level because RBT level nowadays very much important. When you are going to set any question paper, you have to mention RBT level, and many university and colleges following the concept of RBT inclusion in the question paper. So everybody's have some idea what is RBT level and how they can define their question. If teacher has knowledge about RBT, according to that RBT, they design their course structure and also question paper. If you have no idea, so sometime what happen? Teacher have no idea what is RBT level. So as they write question, they write any level of RBT. So that is not okay. So we will discuss each and everything in this session. So let's start from the OBE. So why OBE is required? So basically, the traditional education system is outdated and needs a serious upgrade because traditional education system only focuses on the scoring good marks. Okay, uh, many student is not getting any practical knowledge, and that create unemployment. Nowadays, unemployment is getting worse. To avoid this problem, school, college, and universities need to switch to an outcome-based education. So basically, outcome-based education is a new education system that focus on the actual outcome of the course and not just the grade. Basically, in outcome-based education, mainly focus on the outcome, not on the outcome. Outcome means after completion of that program, after completion of that course, what student is doing. If student is working somewhere by using those knowledge, means there is a outcome. If someone has just completed their course and that particular student is not doing anything or not getting any job, means that is not example of outcome based education. That is basically output, means the student has just completed their course and program. In outcome focus ki what you gain after completion of the course. If you get job, means that is outcome ki yes, you got the job. Actually main purpose of completion of any degree is to do something in that particular field. If you are doing, means you get outcome. If you are not doing, means you get only output. Okay, so outcome based education is an education theory that focuses on what students should know and be able to do when they leave the school or college or university. It's also known as performance based education. So outcomes are the learning result that the student demonstrate at the end of their learning experiences. Outcome reflect what a student can actually do with what they know and have learned as part of their program of study. Outcome include knowledge, skill, attitude, attained after 4 to 5 year, 3 year of graduation. In outcome-based education, the outcome for a higher educational program are defined at the three level as a program outcome, means after completion of any program, what a student gain or learn. Program specific means that is measure of the complete generally 5 to 6 year after completion of program, and the course outcome means what you gain after completing the course. So both output based education and outcome based education focuses on assessing student learning, but they differ in their approach, focuses, and implementation. Output means that related to your qualification, degree, quantity of knowledge, but outcome is your abilities, competencies, what quality of knowledge you acquired. Means suppose someone is doing B Pharma after completion of B Pharma. Completing B Pharma, that is output education. Getting job after completion of B Pharma, that is outcome based education. So now, when you compare output based education and outcome based education, so mainly five to on the basis of 5 to 6 aspect we can compare. Okay, so output based education basically focuses on measurable output like test, score, attendance, engagement rates, and outcome focuses on what students are able to do after completing a course or a program. So here you can see the difference. Output is basically quantity driven, while outcome is quality driven. Okay, and teaching approach, teacher centered, but here this is student centric approach. Okay, assessment method. So primarily examination, assignment, and attendance record. But outcome-based education include performance-based assessment like project, case studies, and practical application. So also you can take the example, a university tracks how many students pass a course, and in outcome-based education, a university ensures student can apply knowledge to solve real-world problem and also can get the job. Now, talking about key principle of outcome-based education. So, firstly, clarity of focus. This means that everything teacher do must be clearly focused on what they want student to know, understand, and able to do. So basically, in teacher's mind, there should be clarity of focus. Clarity of focus means teacher should be clear to what they want student to know, what they want student to understand, what they want student is able to do. In other words, we can say teachers should focus on helping student to develop the knowledge, skill, and personalities that will enable them to achieve the intended outcome. Now, designing back means it means that curriculum design must start with a clear definition of the intended outcomes that students are achieved by end of the program. High expectation for all the students. It means that teachers should establish high challenging standard of performance in order to encourage students to engage deeply what they are learning. Teacher must strive to provide expanded opportunities for all the students. This principle based on the idea that not all learners can learn the same thing in the same way and in the same time. So, however, most students can achieve high standard if they are given appropriate opportunities. So, basically, here comes the concept of slow learner and fast learner. So teacher must identify which type of a student are fast learner and which students are slow learner according to their abilities. Teacher can provide opportunity, also provide assignment, and also provide some tasks. So slow learner also can learn, and fast learner also cannot be bored in the classroom. So this type of phenomena can help a student to improve their knowledge. Now, if you want to implement outcome-based education in university, college, or any course, so there are 8 factors. That can be more than eight, also can be less than eight. But these are some standard steps by which you can implement. So here you can see the firstly you have to highlight the mission and vision of institute or university, and second is stabilize a program educational objective, develop program learning outcome, then create a curriculum map, and then develop a assessment strategies, and six, use rubrics, and seventh, that is implement changes, and eighth, that is continuous improvement. So, uh, what is meaning of institutional vision and mission? So, vision statements means they describe and shoot ambition for the future and the impact it wants to have on its student. So, I'd like you can say example of a vision statement, that is to be an outstanding center for research and innovation, helping to produce solution to crucial issues. This type of example is just vision of any institute or university. Mission means they describe the primary purpose of an institute and the specific action it takes to achieve its vision. So, to provide an enriching educational experience to all the students that improve critical thinking and communication skill. Now, talking about second step, that is PEO, means program educational objective, refer to broad statement that describe the professional and career goal that student must attain within a specific time frame. Third one is develop programming learning outcome, means program PLO or the measurable statement that relate to knowledge, skill and capabilities that student achieve after the completing a program. Means here, concept is CUPO 10 bank. So after this, you can find yes how many students attend what you want to provide and how many students are just lagging behind. Now, next important thing is that is fourth one, create curriculum map. So according to the outcome based education, curriculum should be mapped and should be created. So basically curriculum should be include or topics or unit. Okay, what is learning objective of that particular course, what is instructional methods, which type of assessment, and what is timeline, means a timeline, a time frame for exploring each topic within the program schedule. So basically whenever syllabus is designed, everything should be mentioned. I like unit 1, unit 2, unit 3, unit 4, unit 5, and how many hours you are going to provide unit 1, unit 2, and unit 3, 4, 5, and which type of attainment or outcome is to going to get as like CO1, CO2, CO3, CO4, CO5. And also you can define the uh, some assessment method, yes, how many questions from the which RBT level should be considered. So this type of concept you can include during the creating curriculum. Now, one is most important thing is assessment strategy. So according to course, teacher can define their assessment strategies. In masters we can provide case based studies, some application based studies. In engineering we can take assessment on the basis of practical knowledge. So there are various method. Okay, so one of the main objective of outcome based education is to ensure the development of all students. Therefore, employing outdated assessment technique is ineffective as it serves to assess subject related knowledge. On the contrary, on the contrary, means on the opposition, implementing different type of assessment technique helps measure student achievement in terms of learning outcome. As like we can provide individual or group HF project. Also, we can take presentation of a student and also self-assessment and peer review. So basically, this type of method can improve the performance of a student, and also teacher can measure yes how much knowledge or how much outcome student are getting. Now, Sixth is using rubrics. So basically, by using rubrics, we can measure the program outcome and course outcome, and also we can identify how many students are attending the level and how many students are not. So rubrics are useful tools as they provide clear guidance for the student and the teachers and help them quality performance with regard to learning outcome. As like आपने सुना होगा वो CO and PO mapping. So basically that is example of rubrics. And the first step in building a rubric include recognizing the key criteria related to different aspects of a student performance. And the second step include stabilizing precise performance level for each criteria. Now implement changes. So flexibility is a crucial feature of outcome-based education, making it feasible for teachers to use different approaches whenever a particular technique does not work out. So teacher can update their self, they can adopt, a different type of teaching method. Now last one is that is continuous improvement. So outcome based education is an ongoing process that requires ongoing evaluation through different mechanisms. Educators and institute ensure continuous improvement through the following processes: data gathering and result analysis. Okay, every semester HOS or HOD should announce the result. According to this result, they can redefine their curriculum, their structure, their teaching pedagogy, everything defined. So results analysis is very much important thing if we are talking about our course outcome based education. Now, talking about architecture, so basically, outcome based education architecture contain many things. If you discuss these things, it will take 2 or 3 hours to discuss. Okay, so here you can see there are two type of attainment. One is direct attainment, and second is indirect. Direct CO attainment, and second is indirect CO attainment. So direct CO attainments include quiz and assignment, mid-semester exam, and semester exam. And talking about indirect CO attainment, that's that include feedback, okay, 1 minute stop, a spot feedback, post and feedback, and by combining both direct CO attainment plus indirect CO attainments, we find total CO attainment. Okay, and also we got direct program outcome attainment through the COPO mapping, and also we get indirect PO attainment through the alumni feedback, employer feedback, student exit surveys, and by combining all, we get total PO attainment. So basically, this is architecture, and I have already made video the how COPU mapping is done and how we can calculate, you know, course outcome means CO attainment. So in those video also you can see. So by combining all this, we get total program outcome. So learning outcome. So basically, outcome-based education begins with the identification and articulation of clear, measurable learning outcomes, and these outcomes describe the knowledge, skill, and abilities that students are expected to acquire by the end of a course, program, or a educational experience. So, learning outcomes are typically categorized based on the cognitive, affective, and methods domain. Curriculum design, we have already discussed, it's play a very major role how your curriculum is going to define. That is basically based on outcome based education or not. Okay, and structural strategy, basically outcome based education emphasizes active and student centered learning approaches that engage learner in meaningful activities and promote deeper understanding. And assessment method, we have already discussed according if one assessment method is not working, So teacher can adopt different type of attainment method or assessment method. Okay, basically that should be aligned on the nature of course, nature of subject. And feedback and reflection is very much important. Your outcome-based education is successful when you are getting, feedback for improving or as we mentioned, one of the most important properties of outcome-based education is that is continuous improvement. Okay, so we have already discussed. Now talking about one of the most important is that is RBT. That RBT means revised Bloom taxonomy, and the most time of RBT level used when you are designing a question paper. So taxonomy means a system of grouping or categorizing thing. So Bloom taxonomy attempt to classify learning stages from remembering facts to creating new idea based on the acquired knowledge. So the idea of Bloom taxonomy is that learning is a consecutive process. Before applying a concept in a real life, we must understand it. Before we understand a concept, you must remember the key facts related to it. Means, firstly, we have to remember, then understand, then apply, then analyze, then evaluate, then create. So basically, six stages of revised RBT levels. Remember, understand, apply, analyze, evaluate, and create. So remember means just recall the fact and basic concept. Understand means just explain the ideas or concept, you know, and apply means just use information in new situation. Analyze, draw the connection among the ideas. And evaluate means just justify a standard decision. And create means produce a new or original work. So in the second half of the session, we will discuss the RBT level, and also we discuss the verb, and also we discuss type of the question. So basically here, firstly, first stage is that is lower stage, we can say, lower thinking order, we can say, that is remember. So this stage of learning is about memorizing basic facts, dates, event, person, places, concept, and patterns. Ability to recall the facts, convention, definition, technical terms, classification, categories, and criteria. Ability to recall the methodology and process, abstraction, knowledge of dates, event, place, mastery of subject matter. So basically, this comes under the remember RBT level. And which type generally verb used in this type of ability, that like choose, define, find, how, label, list, match, name, omit, record, relate, select, show, spell, tell, tabulate, code, what, when, where, which, who, why. And also in this type of ability level, we find question like this: who, where, which one, what, how, why, how much, how many, when. My मीनिंग इज टू से दिस कि इस तरह के आंसर अगर आपको पता है, आपको याद है, तो यू कैन गिव यू इजीली. You need not to think more about this type of answer. Basically, this is totally based on the recalling the facts. So here you can see the example, and like I am saying, uh, here here you can see the example, who is vice chancellor of this university. So if you know name, you can tell. Who killed Ravana? If you know, you can give. Means you have to know about the thing. No need to think about this. Means अगर आपको याद है, आपको पता है, तो you can give the answer. So now, what uh, should be assessment method for remembering? So to assess remembering in the revised Bloom taxonomy, you can use assessment method that requires student to recall, recognize, or retrieving previously learned information through the technique like a multiple choice question, fill in the blank question, listing fact, defining term, or simply stating the key concept from the given topic. Now, second is understand. This is second step in this. In In this stage of learning about understanding information, grasp meaning, translate knowledge into next new concept, interpret facts, compare, construct. ओके, सो बेसिकली इस तरह के जो अंडरस्टैंडिंग लेवल होता है इसमें जो हमारे वर्ब यूज होता है जनरली, दैट इज कंपेयर, क्लासिफाई, डेमोन्स्ट्रेट, एक्सप्लेन, एक्सटेंड, समराइज। बेसिकली अगर आपको चीजें याद हैं तो उसको आप समझ सकते हो। मीन्स वी हैव कवर्ड रिमेंबर, रिमेंबर के बाद अंडरस्टैंड। चीजों को हम तभी समझ सकते हैं जब उसके बारे में कुछ फैक्ट हमें याद है, हमें पता है। ओके, तो अगर इसमें हम देखेंगे जो क्वेश्चन क्या हो सकते हैं, व्हाट डज दिस मीन्स, विच आर द फैक्ट्स, स्टेट इन योर ओन वर्ड्स। ओके, so here I've taken many example. You can pause this video and you can see the example. Okay, now talking about question, explain why photosynthesis is important from the plant life. So firstly you have much idea about the photosynthesis, then you can describe. तो बेसिकली इसमें आपको पहले याद करना है, चीजों को समझना है, then you have to write. Can you describe the main difference between the mitosis and meiosis? अगर दोनों की डिफिनेशन आपको पता है देन आप डिफरेंस बता सकते हो। तो बेसिकली अंडरस्टैंड टोटली डिपेंड अपॉन द रिमेंबर। अगर रिमेंबर आपको पता है, याद है, रिकॉल कर सकते हैं, देन यू कैन explain the things. So to assess understanding in this revised blue taxonomy, you can ask a student to explain concept, summarize key idea in their own words, interpret the information and provide detailed description of a topic, demonstrating their comprehension beyond simple recall of facts. Okay, third one is apply. So firstly you have to remember, then understand, then after understanding you have to apply that knowledge into something. So here apply means just use information, use method, concept, law, theory, new situation, solve problem. Okay, and here this type of verb use when you are preparing the question, like apply, build, choose, construct, develop, experiment, identify, utilize, calculate, predict. Okay, so example you can see, predict what would happen if, tell how much changes there would be, identify the result of. So here you can see the some example in the form of question as like, how would you use something? What example can you find too? How would you solve using? Means this type of, you know, एग्जाम्पल यू कैन टेक फॉर अप्लाई। तो बेसिकली इसमें क्या होता है कि जब भी आप कोई क्वेश्चन बनाते हैं या क्वेश्चन पढ़ते हैं, उसको अगर आप 3-4 बार पढ़ते हैं तो आपको खुद समझ में आ जाएगा कि विच टाइप ऑफ आरबीटी लेवल वी कैन यूज फॉर दिस पर्टिकुलर क्वेश्चन। So to assess the apply level in the revised blue taxonomy, design assessment tasks that require a student to take learned concept and principle and use them in a new situation like solving problem, making decision or applying knowledge to real world scenario, often using action verb like demonstrate, calculate, implement and adopt. Now talking about, we can say, higher level thinking. Okay, so you have discussed lower level thinking like remember, understand, apply. Now you're talking about higher level thinking. First one is analyze. Analyze means you have to analyze a situation. Okay, so how you can analyze the situation? Simple method is break down a complex problem into its part, identify the relationship and interaction between the uh, different parts of a complex problem, identify the missing information, sometimes the redundant information and the contradictory information if any. So in this type of RBT level we find verb like analyze, assume, categorize, classify, compare, conclusion, construct, discover. Okay, so some example you can see here. What are the past feature? How, why do you think? What motive is there? So this type of question is example of analyze level. And if you want to assess the analyze, in the RBT. So design assessment that requires student to break down information into component parts, identify relationship between the report, and interpret how they contribute to a larger structure of purpose, often by comparing, constructing, or examining underlying patterns and motives within the given materials. Okay, evaluate. So this is second last highest properties of RBT, evaluate. So in this, you have to evaluate a idea, a method. So compare and discriminate between the ideas, assess value of theories presentation, make choices based on the reasoned argument, verify value of evidence. So basically here we are judging something, we are evaluating something. Okay. So this type of verbs used in evaluate as like agree, appraise, assess, award, choose, compare, conclude. तो देखिए इसमें कुछ क्वेश्चन ऐसे होते हैं कि जो अंडरस्टैंड भी हो सकते हैं, एनालाइज भी हो सकते हैं, इवेलुएट भी हो सकते हैं। जैसे यहाँ पे आप देख सकते हैं चूज, कंपेयर, कंक्लूड। ओके, नाउ हियर you can see some example of evaluate. Do you agree with the action? What is your opinion of? How do you prove? Okay, so हम evaluate को कैसे assess कर सकते हैं? तो assess evaluate in the revised Bloom taxonomy design assessment that require learner to make judgment based on the stabilized criteria, standard, or value, often by uh, critiquing, comparing, and justifying their decision. Now this is last one, that is create. So basically in this create we have to use old ideas to create new one, combine past to make new, generalize from a given facts, relate knowledge from a several areas, predict, draw conclusion, and this type of verbs used in create that like build, change, combine, compile, compose, construct, create. So here you can see we are creating some new idea or deleting. I like creating means you have to create something new. Develop means you are developing new. Design means you are designing new. So this of type of verb comes under the create level, and this type of a question I like see, can you design, you know, here you can see what changes would you make to solve, how would you improve, what would happen if, can you elaborate on the region, how do you adopt, you know, can you construct. So you can design assignment that requires student to provide something new original like presentation, project, design, story, or solution by combining existing knowledge and ideas in a novel way. Look for evidence of synthesis, planning, and ability to recognize elements into coherent whole, often using words like design, construct. So we have discussed all the, you know, six RBT level. So just I want to give you some remember means just recalling information. What is, who was his dad. Understand means demonstrate an understanding of the fact, concept, and ideas. Apply means solve problem by applying knowledge, facts, technique, and rules in a unique way. Analyze means breaking information into parts to explore connection and relationship. Okay, evaluate means justifying or defending a position or course of action. And create means generating a new ideas, product or ways of view of thinking. What would happen if, you know, do you agree with the action? So this type of example in, okay. Now this is water cycle, and here we can see which type of question we can make on the topic of water cycle. Remembering, so list the stages of water cycle. Understanding means explain how evaporation and conduction work in water cycle. Applying means demonstrate the water cycle using a simple experiment. Analyzing means compare the impact of deforestation on the water cycle. Evaluate means assess how climate changes affect the water cycles. Creating means design a infographic or model to represent the water cycle. So By a simple topic also we can see how RBT level can be defined. Okay, and how now talking why it's matter. So helps teacher to create lesson that moves student from basic knowledge to higher order thinking, increase deeper understanding rather than the rote memorization, ensure that the test and assignment measure different level of learning, and prepare student for problem solving and real world application. Now, how outcome based education and RBT are related? So basically, outcome based education define outcomes, RBT helps achieve it. So in outcome based education, learning outcomes are set based on what students should be able to achieve, and RBT provides a structured way to design curriculum, teaching method, and assessment to reach those outcomes. And learning outcomes in OBE are often mapped to RBT level to ensure student progress from lower order thinking to higher order thinking. For example, if an outcome is apply physics concept to real world problem, is aligned with the applying level of the RBT. Outcome based education frameworks uses RBT to design course content, ensuring that the student progressively build a skill. Learning activities and assessment are structured based on the RBT level to match the expected outcome in outcome based education. Uh, Now, assessment criteria. So, in outcome based education, assessment are based on the learning outcome. Using RBT, educators ensure that case assessment are aligned to different cognitive levels such as quizzes for remembering, case studies for analyzing, and project for creating. So here you can see how RBT level related to outcome based education. So identify key concept of marketing. So that is map with the remember RBT level, explain market segmentation that relate to understanding, apply financial model that is applying, analyze economic trends that is analyzing, evaluate business strategy that is evaluating, design an innovative marketing campaigning that is creating. So by integrating outcome based education with RBT, educators ensure that learning is a structured, measurable, and focus on real world application. So I have discussed, and if you want to ask any question by using comment, you can ask any question. If you have a problem understanding any concept, just pause video on this PPT and just try to, you know, see 2 or 3 times. Okay, try to read 2 or 3 times. You can easily understand. Still, you are facing any problem, you can drop a message uh, in the comment box. I will happy to reply. So thank you for watching this. Thank you.